Hello, Amelia Harshfield here. I'm a mentor and entrepreneur who helps other leaders and impact makers find freedom by being who they really are. And the freedom that they find is usually priceless and worth its weight in gold because they're allowed to be themselves fully. And today we get to talk to INFPs. Oh, I've got my dog Naya in the background there sleeping. It's been a rainy day for us here in Kansas City. So she got to get wet and then toweled off after our walk in the rain. So she's tired. So today we get to talk to INFPs and specifically what to do when they don't live up to the standards that they're setting for themselves. INFPs have a desire to be treated in the way that lives up to the ideals that live within them. And when they don't do that themselves, they can get frustrated with themselves. They can criticize themselves and beat themselves up about it. They might be thinking about the ways or the situations that they are not living up to their own standards. So they might be thinking about it in their mind over and over and over and over again. And they can be frustrated because it's not really who they want to be or not who they see themselves as a person, but they're doing these things that don't live up even to their own inner ideals. And that can be really frustrating because that doesn't feel right to them. And they often want this to be different. And what's the biggest thing that can move them forward in this is to learn how to forgive themselves. And there's lots of advice on just forgive yourself. But in my opinion, it's usually a learning process, because if you knew how to forgive yourself, if you knew how to be kind to yourself with this, then you would already be doing that. And you wouldn't be criticizing yourself. You wouldn't be thinking negatively about yourself. You might just say, look, this shit happens. It's going to keep happening. There's never going to be a world that I'm perfectly me all the time. And that can be really hard because you're like, I just want to be me. I want to be the person I want to be regularly. And instead of looking at where you're not being the person that you want to be, try looking at where are you being the person that you want to be. So focusing or just looking at, okay, where am I holding up my values? Where am I representing myself in the way that feels right to me? And then when you see yourself being the person that you don't want to be, so going against your own values, what did you need in that situation to do it differently? So think to a situation in the past that you're like, I should have acted differently, or I could have said that differently, or man, I shouldn't have agreed to that. And what did you need in that moment? And what would you tell yourself now to the person the person that you were then? Like, hey, you're going to fuck this up. It's okay. As long as we keep growing and learning from this, every mistake that we make is going to be okay. And sometimes just that acceptance and saying things like that to support yourself can soften you. It can make you turn into a learning team versus working against the different parts of you to say, you should be doing this, or you should be doing this, and I should be doing this differently. And so you're splitting yourself apart versus coming together and be like, okay, as long as we keep learning, as long as we keep growing, as long as we keep getting better, when we make mistakes, that maybe that's just a learning opportunity. And that's a great way to forgive yourself and say, like, yeah, it's frustrating. Yeah, it's tough, but this stuff is going to keep happening. And so if you can learn how to approach it differently, then it's going to help you so much down the road. So you're not going to spend this time being frustrated with yourself that you're not perfect and you don't always hold up to these ideals that you have. But you can say, when I don't live up to these ideals, that's okay too. And I'm still a decent person, and I'm still a good person, and I can still keep getting better at being who I am and honoring the values within me And as you do that, you'll inspire other people to live up to their own values, because that's something you are amazing at. And so many other people can get better at that just by you getting better and better and better at you doing that yourself. So you have a great gift and a great ability just by showing, by doing. You don't really have to say. You can talk about it if you don't want to, but you can talk about it if you want to, but you can just teach so much by you doing. And there are some things that can be blocking you from actually doing this. There might be some kind of resistance to the forgiving. So maybe part of you is like, well, we've done this so many times in the past that this shit's never going to change. So why should I forgive you now? You might have a voice that sounds like that. You might have a voice that says what we're doing when we do this is not effective. And then having a little bit of a battle saying like, I should be doing better. I should be doing more. This is a waste of my time. And those voices can be hard to quiet if you don't know how to do that. And those two voices are trying to help you, but they also need to be soothed and talked to in certain ways so they can quiet down and work with you rather than try to pull you apart so you can't get to where you want to go. And if you are ready to be more of who you are in this case, forgive yourself more, be gentler to yourself, accept yourself more, book a call with me. Let's go through and see where you're at. And I would love to help you see how you can work with yourself so you can feel more like you rather than pull yourself apart and feel disconnected. And you can find that option on my website under the Connect page. And I will see you on the next video.